Hello and welcome to TVC News, featuring flashback and recap of stories that made headlines during the week. I am Azizat Olaoluwa. First, today's news. The face-off between organized labor and the federal government in Nigeria over a new minimum wage has been on since 2016. And it's yet to be resolved. Labour insists that 30,000 naira renegotiated figure from its initial demand of 66,500 naira is no longer negotiable. But the government says its offer of 22,500 naira is guided by the need to sustain a new wage structure. Correspondent Jakadisa writes on Labour's many battles for improved welfare for its members.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan signed the minimum wage bill into law in 2011. The act moved minimum wage to 18,000 naira from a paltry 7,500 naira. That feat took organized labor 3 years of protests, strikes and rallies to attain. The same scenario is again playing out as labor unions in Nigeria have been untiring in their engagement with the Buhari administration for a necessary review of the law. By the 2011 Act, employers of labor with more than 50 workers in both public and private establishments in Nigeria are mandated to pay 18,000 naira as minimum wage to their employees. That law is to be reviewed every 5 years, meaning that the 18,000 naira minimum wage lapsed in 2016. Since then, the struggle has been on. It took 1 year for the tripartite committee set up by the federal government to submit its report. Representatives of organized labor on that committee decried what they said was a tactical delay on the part of government in submitting the agreed figure to the necessary quarters. From an initial demand of 66,500 naira, labor negotiated down to 30,000 naira and believes the figure is no longer open to debate. But government, especially at the state levels, believe acceding to that request will be inimical to their respective economies.
If you are earning 18,000 naira as a minimum wage in this economy of today, knowing the cost of various food items, the cost of various basic necessities, then are we concerned about the ability of such workers and their families to survive?
A situation whereby our report is not taken or considered by the committee to present it before the president, then I don't know how the committee wants us to work. And we still say we want to pay, but the issue is ability to pay. But if you say no, it's not about ability to pay, just pay. When the president came in, about 27 states are not paying, cannot pay. Not they choose not to pay, but they cannot pay. So now you say 30,000, how many states will be bankrupt? So we need as Nigerians to look at this seriously.
Weeks after the report was submitted to President Muhammadu Buhari, organized labor gave a December the 31st, 2018 deadline for its transmission to the National Assembly. Labour says it is set for nationwide rallies and protests on Tuesday, January the 8th, ahead of an indefinite strike to drive home its demand for the transmission, passage, assent, and implementation of the 30,000 naira new minimum wage. To avert the looming threats of the economy being grinded to a halt, the federal government has again returned to the negotiation table with organized labor.
It's a meeting we called as regards the communique issued by the joint trade unions after your executive meeting in Lagos, and you intimated government that you are not happy with the implementation processes of the reports of the tripartite committee that were submitted. So government decided that today we'll meet with you and brief you fully on all we've been doing. And if you have questions also, you ask us. We'll let you know so that we'll be on the same page. Because this president is determined that he will give a new minimum wage to Nigerian workers. But in doing so, he has to do a minimum wage that can be sustainable.
This issue is very, very dear to workers' hearts because a lot of factors have happened. The inflation, the economy, and the important other variables that have affected the take-home pay of the ordinary worker. That have put a lot of pressure on also all of us to be able to deliver on this very important subject matter of minimum wage.
This time, Labour seeks a commitment from the government regarding the date the bill will be sent to the Federal Parliament.
We have made substantial progress. Progress in terms of the transmission of the new national minimum wage bill.
We have actually discussed all the issues and all the areas, particularly on how we can be able to ensure that this issue is put behind us. And clearly that is why we took so much of this time, including going out to have some time out to consult, but we have not been able to conclude.
After about 7 hours behind closed doors on Friday, the meeting ended inconclusive and both camps agreed to resume talks on Monday. Government believes considerable success has been made with the Friday meeting and looks forward to the suspension of the proposed rallies and industrial action. Labour, on the other hand, maintains that the outcome of Monday's meeting would define its next line of action. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.